me, Steven, with the Positive Identity Podcast with the unfathomable, unequalable, unstoppable Ron Bush. And we're going to talk about creating positive race relations because somebody in America has to step up, and we believe in you all and our ability to do just that. So, Ron, how you doing, buddy?
I am doing fantastic, and welcome everybody to yet another episode of Positive Identity with my brother from another mother, Stephen Gray. And
good to see you all. It is a warm. I don't know how for you. It's a chilly Los Angeles day. It's November 17th.
That's a chilly Los Angeles. Yeah. It's a very chilly Los Angeles.
How you been? How's everything going, real quick, before we dive in? You know?
I've been good. You know what? My company's online store is going to launch here very shortly with great fanfare, just in time for the holidays, and I'll hopefully be ready for that. The Comedy Store is open again, and the back parking lot is where everybody goes for comedy now, and outdoors, of course, will probably all be shut down within the next 24, 48 hours, since we're starting to enjoy ourselves again and actually live lives outside of the confines of our bedrooms. And that's it. That's all I got right now. And the world survived the election. Did you notice that everybody survived? Like, the world didn't end during the election. Regardless of who your political bent is, the world is still here, and therefore it's time for us to start looking positively, or in a positive manner, towards everyone of different races and saying, I love you. Did you see how cheesy that got? I got so cheesy.
It was great. This is you're convincing me minute by minute why this needs to be video form. Real quickly, full disclaimer, if any of my comedian friends see me do that, just ignore it. Thank you. Continue. I don't know if this is on brand for Ron Bush's comedian. I will tell you, folks, this is a family-friendly podcast.
It is.
Sometimes family members may swear a bit. We'll try to keep that to a minimum. But I think Ron, outside of this podcast, is for certain ages, and that's why we love him.
I've been nicknamed the scariest gay man in America and Gay Thanos. So if that paints any more pictures for you, I'll just leave it at that, since it's not about that.
Thanos kills half of everyone. That's his goal. And so for me,
he was fighting for equality. Thank you very much.
It's true. He doesn't discriminate. Thanos, it's all random. You know. Why can't we just have super villains that are as open-minded as that? All right. So we are going to talk about people that are inspired. Ideally, you're listening to this podcast for two reasons. Maybe three. The first is that, all right, I want to hear positive stories. I want to be inspired. And we're going to talk about two inspiring people today of different racial communities, because our perception really defines our action, Ron. And we want to make sure that we see people who are Asian, Black, Hispanic, Native, white, mixed, however you identify yourself. We want to show people like you doing good things in the world, to inspire you to see yourself as being capable of doing that, and for people who are not like you to see you as that as well. So one reason why you're listening to that. Two, maybe it's the camaraderie between Ron and I. I like to think this growing chemistry between two people who are alike in so many horrifying ways will keep everyone going. And number three, you need some background white noise so you don't hear that dog across the street from busting your chops. And so for whatever reason why you're listening, we thank you for coming in. And we're going to start talking about our first person. We chatted about this kid last week. So let's bring up our screen share, and we'll talk about Orion Jean. All right. So
fifth grader.
Yes, Ron?
He's a fifth grader. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, he's a fifth grader. And again, we're here to inspire. So if you look at this kid and are like, oh my gosh, I haven't done anything like that. And at age 50, whatever. Don't worry about it. This is the purpose of this, is to show that, you know what, maybe we can do this stuff too. And there are no barriers and the stuff that we can do that is in service to our brothers and sisters and humanity. So this fifth grader is racing to get 100K meals to people in need before Thanksgiving. All right. So Ron, we talked about this article a little bit last week. Thanksgiving's coming up. What does Thanksgiving sort of mean to you? Because it's interesting to sort of see this kid choose Thanksgiving as a holiday to go for.
Well, Thanksgiving for me is a rather complicated holiday. I would say that for me, I focus on it being a time that me and my loved ones, friends, and family can get together and celebrate each other and give thanks for the love that we have for each other and show gratitude for that love and the abundance that we have in our lives, regardless of what it may be, and paying attention to the things that the things that we have in common and our history, our common shared history, and that's about it. I would say that's what Thanksgiving means to me. It means a time to celebrate the love and friendship that I have with my friends and family.
Yeah, it's a social holiday. It's about finding those people that are that are meaningful to you, and say I want to be around them. I want to find we take people for granted in our lives, and a day like today, to me, I agree with you, is sort of like we're not taking granted. This is a thing where there's a recognition that this is a day you spend with people that matter to you. Therefore, I'm around you because you matter to me. And
right, that's exactly right.
Yeah, which was why this article is interesting. 100K meals to people in need before Thanksgiving. And I want you to have that thought in your head that for this kid right here, his idea of family and friends is more expansive than maybe what you and I have been thinking about. So there's no arguing that the coronavirus pandemic has left the world reeling. It's also taught us some invaluable lessons about the nature of perseverance, the courage of conviction, and the gift of compassion. Now, more than ever, people young and old are being inspired to make a positive difference in their communities, and few are more dedicated to giving back than North Texas fifth grader Orion Jean. This small but mighty public champion is on a mission. His goal, donating 100,000 meals to those in need by Thanksgiving. I'm asking everyone to join me in a race to kindness, Jean told CNN. This has been a rough year for everybody, and now it's more important than ever to show support and love to anyone who needs it. Right now, people living everywhere from Tulsa, Oklahoma to Dallas, Texas, can go to a drop-off point and donate a packed meal containing a bottle of water, a piece of fruit, a tuna pouch or applesauce cup, a granola bar, and of course, a positive message. And we have an image right here of what that might end up looking like. The food drive isn't Jean's first philanthropic venture. Last summer, he told, I want to stop here. So I want to stop and take a look at this image. And Ron, I want you to sort of weigh in with what you're kind of sort of thinking about right now about Orion. I'm sorry for not pronouncing his name right. Let me know if you...
It's probably Orion, but we're going.
Cool. Yeah. So talk to me.
I mean, to start off with, I find it's very touching and very moving that this fifth grader came up with the idea. Just this afternoon, I was watching how in Texas you have, I guess, miles of cars lining up for free food, for food bank. And, when I was watching that video, it was every race, man. Black, white, brown, yellow. Everybody was in that line trying to get food. And when you look at this picture, we're looking at a bottle of water, an apple, an oatmeal pack, a health bar, and some type of fruit squeezy thing. And let me tell you something. Having lived in poor areas through my life, and knowing how churches, regardless of denomination around the country, around the world, make sure that food necessities and food items like government cheese and all these different things get into the hands of the people that need it most. When you look at this picture and you see how simple it is, and then you think, you know what? That may be Thanksgiving dinner for someone. That may be the nutrition that some child gets for the day, for that meal. A bottle of water, an apple, a nature bar, a protein bar, and a pack of oatmeal and a fruit squeezy. And that and everything that we're seeing going on in this country right now for COVID, all the efforts that you see happening right now across our communities for all these different churches trying to feed homeless and poor people. You see it here all over Los Angeles. It's gut-wrenching. And how many times do I see the homeless in the food lines here in Los Angeles, and I wonder, is there more anybody can do? Feeling helpless that I could do anything. And so as much as I just feel gutted that it's come to this, gutted that we continue to have food insecurity in this country, in the Americas, in America, in the United States of America. But then to see a child, 5th grade, being able to see this need within his community, to be able to talk with his parents and his relatives and whoever else within his community that are helping him put this together. Every bag that you see on that table he's standing in front of, every bottle of water, everything that he's getting there donated, that's love as much as it is sustenance. And for those bags to be sitting there, this African-American child, he's not paying attention to the hate speech that's coming through the news every day. He's not paying attention to the hate speech that's online every day. He's not paying attention to the hate speech that's coursing through the veins of America or in our streets towards each other in a negative way because of the color of our skin or the accent of our voice. He's showing love. He's packing love up in a bag. And probably most of those people, out of all the people that get these meals, many of them would discriminate against him because of the color of his skin. Many of them would turn a blind eye. And then they get this bag. And then they find out where this comes from. And maybe, just maybe, they'll realize that those beliefs and those emotions are misplaced. And that's what we can hope for, right? That's all we can hope for. And to make sure that, other 5th graders who may not have that support network around them, who actually needs that meal, hopefully that they'll get it, that they'll be inspired, that these communities can raise more awareness, and we as a community, regardless of our political belief, can recognize that the blood that courses through our veins, the DNA that we share, all of that means that we're human. And regardless of anything else that you believe, we all deserve love. We all deserve sustenance. And we all deserve to be able to give thanks and gratitude for that which we have regardless of what it is and what quantities it may exist in. That's what comes to my mind. And
incredibly well said. I think that's a really incredibly well said. It's
and real quickly,
please,
I'm devastated that it's a necessity.
You have done a real positive here, Ron. For people listening to this, our job here is to show people of different races in a positive light. And we react to that. In our reactions, we are going to start to go places. We're going to start asking questions about how this whole thing works, about how people are, that are pivotal to us becoming a better society, a multiracial one for everybody, where we're here to work together. There's a lot of different branches on that tree you just grew. And one to me that jumped out is the giving to those who want to hurt you or may hate you or so on and so forth. And it's a real question we're asking right now in November of 2020 America. A lot of people are looking forward and thinking about which direction do we go? A direction of reconciliation or a direction of hard reformation? And I would argue that as we go through this, we're not going to have easy answers. And we're going to find that maybe both answers are wrong. Maybe there's a deeper answer. Maybe there's balance. And I think thinking about this kid and his motivation, I want to say something maybe potentially controversial. He's in 5th grade, and his view of the world is like a young puppy, filled with optimism and possibility. And he sees a problem. He's like, well, let's fix it. Let's do that. And there's a reason why there's this love of youth. Ron and I respect our elders. The elders are where it's at. But that youthful belief that a lot of people have before the scars of the world start to weigh down on them is, I think, a key part of what we should be reattaching towards as people. What do we start off as? We start off as people who were not affected by those echoes of pain, those waves of pain that pass from generation to generation, human to human towards each other. Maybe we come out and our want is to do good and the world turns us away from good. And so I'll finish real quick.
Yeah.
That's of the tree that you planted and the branches that came out. To me, that was the one that stood out to me. Of there's a purity to what Orion wants to do.
And I agree with you 100%. There is a purity to that, but I would also like to highlight that a 5th grader can't do that on his own or her own. That there are parents, there are teachers, there are community people, leaders, whoever, neighbors, friends, families of the friends. There are adults. And I would wager that many of them are people of color, considering that this child is people of color.
Yeah.
And I would wager that many of them are not. That are coming together to make this happen, to make this dream happen, to make this initiative happen. And so not only is there that innocence and the purity that this child has brought forth, but it's inspired the adults around him. It's reminded them. I'm highly confident that the parents and adults around this child are aware of the racial tensions in America.
Yeah.
They're aware of the bad that can happen to that very boy who's not much younger than Trayvon Martin. You know, if, you know, they could go to the same school, high school, whatever, in certain areas, you know, these parents are saying that this is the right thing to do. And that's appealing to our better angels, isn't it? Right? That's telling that child, do not watch what's happening in our social discourse and come away from it angry and bitter, enslaved by the hatred that weighs down the mind, that portends to project that type of ignorance on us as a culture and as a society, but to say, no, that's not the proper way to go. To know these parents and these community leaders that are helping them, I know they know that Malcolm X went to Africa with one message, came back with another, after being educated by a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Muslim man. That Martin Luther King, you know, he had a shift in his consciousness from his early days until his assassination, speaking of income equality, speaking of environmental issues, unionization. So we all can appear to, you know, it's the carried on message of appealing to our better judgments, to our higher angels. You know, I've been speaking now for 10 minutes and I've hadn't said anything disgusting or ridiculous as a stand-up comedian. That's how important this is to me. You know, and I want people to be able to hear the message that a lot of times we don't hear, which is, by the way, it's not about you. And it's not about me. And it's not about Stephen. It's about all of us. And if we can't spiritually join hands and figure out the best way forward together, what are we doing anyway? You know?
It's get me off this thing. Like if that's like if it's not that, then like get me off this thing. Like as far as I'm concerned, Ron, that's why we're highlighting Orion, because there's a lot of things that we have put in front of us. We're going to put him in front of you, and what's going to happen is this: he's also put in front of Ron and I. And Ron and I, we got our scars. We've grown up. We're adults. We're adults like those adults who are helping him out. Right. And people like him change us in that the good they do serves as the salve that cleans and ultimately heals that wound. Yeah. Because it shows us that that world that we don't want, Ron, we don't have to live it.
It requires us to wake up every day and take a simple action and build upon it.
What's going to happen is this. You and me are going to start having some simple action challenges in this podcast, where from week to week, we're going to be like, all right, we have to do this or this. And we're going to report back, Ron. I don't know, as for those watching the video, there's a lot of facial expressions processing what those simple actions are. But guess what, folks? This podcast isn't all talk. You listening, sure, you might be listening to Ron's deep baritone voice. I get that. But you also kind of want to take action too, baby. No.
And if you're an LGBTQ male, maybe you can DM. Let me stop. I think that what's important here is I love the idea of taking action.
We're consuming society, but we want to take action. We saw what happened this summer with George Floyd. You know, no matter what you believe, people took to the streets. They took action. You may have some feelings about XYZ and what's fake or not fake. This election, record turnout. People are engaged.
Right.
And they're looking for where to turn that energy next. And we're going to
be ultimately, even with this record turnout, guess what everybody was trying to do, regardless. And I know there's going to be a lot of us out there be like, nigga, we know what they were trying to do. And you have to beat that.
Where you going with this, Ron?
But, regardless of what you believe about the people who voted, we all voted because we wanted a better America.
We believed we had the power to. We believed that we had the power to make what we thought would be a better America.
To make a better America. And so with me, I'm going to rephrase a question I had asked this couple in Salt Lake City that it came up to me, and we were discussing the fact that their son was coming out of the closet and they felt that they were doing it wrong. And I simply said to them, I was like, do you love your son? Yes. Do you want to love your son unconditionally? Yes. Then how you feel about the choices your son makes, as long as he's not killing another person, as long as he's not harming another individual, needs to be from a place of unconditional love. And it sounds like if you have a problem about a sexual orientation, you need to educate yourself or change your definition of unconditional love, because I guarantee you that your son is coming to you because he loves you unconditionally, and reciprocation is all that's necessary for a healthy foundation to be maintained. And it's the same thing with the country. Do you love this country? And if your answer is yes, you do love this country, then the question comes then, and if you can say unconditionally, then you either, whatever biases you have, whatever complaints you have, there's 350-something million of us. We're not all going to agree with each other. We're not all going to like each other. We're not all going to understand each other. We're not all going to insert phrase here. We're just not. I mean, my family unit of 2 boys and mom and dad, we didn't agree with each other. It was just 4 of us. And so, and it's legendary, right? Thanksgiving, everybody gets together. I had a joke a few years ago. I was like, why am I going to pay money to fly across the country to argue with people that I can do to argue with people and get pissed off when I can do when I can do the same thing on Facebook? I don't have to leave anywhere.
Just get on Twitter. Trust me, you'll find your people. There's no right.
I don't need to fly across the country to shove turkey and stuffing in my mouth to argue with you there. If arguing is just what I need to do, I can argue with anybody I want to any time of the day, anywhere I go. The reason why you're there is because actually deep down in your heart, you love these people unconditionally.
I want to go back to this article. I want to leave with one thing, because the election, obviously, it's so weird. It was. I ran the numbers wrong. It was only 9 days ago. Joe Biden came out.
Feels like it was a decade ago, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's 9. There's no way it was 9 days. I had to check the calendar a couple of times.
Honestly, this year, how I'm staying youthful and beautiful through this year, I have no idea.
I'm hitting the gym, baby. Your personal gym. That's all you got to do.
If my black was going to crack, 2020 was the year it's going to happen. Let me tell you.
It's still time. This year is going to end long. But Obama had an article in The Atlantic. I think the title was, "I'm not yet ready to give up on the idea of America." And whether you're someone who's Obama or someone who's Trump, and no matter what your perspective is as a voter, the American idea and what you think that is, it's different to different people, but it means a lot to people. And there's something about that too that I want to get to, because there's a lot of branches, Ron. But I want to get back to our hero here, our 5th grader, and I want to make sure that we sort of close up his story a bit, and then really kind of sort of think about Thanksgiving coming up and maybe some of our ideas we want to do with that. So
absolutely,
screen share. All right. So apparently, it's not the first time Jean has done this. The food drive isn't Jean's first philanthropic venture. Last summer, he took first place in the Think Kindness National Speech Contest. The question, he noted in his winning entry, is how can kindness change a nation? The Chisholm Ridge Elementary School's answer spoke to a simple the Chisholm Ridge Elementary School.
Shirley Chisholm.
Chisholm, gotcha. The Chisholm Ridge Elementary School's answer spoke to a simple human truth that struck a sympathetic chord in the hearts of the judges. Sympathetic chord in the hearts of the judges. The difficult situations impacting our world has shown us that kindness is more important now than ever, he said. We've heard about the families hurting from this pandemic, the community suffering injustice, the people being over virtual learning. We could really use a big hug right now. And that's just it. Kindness is like spreading hugs around the world to those who need it and those who might not even know they need it. The acts could be something small, but in the end, making a big difference to the person receiving it. Jean used the $500 first prize award to organize a follow-up project, the Race to 500 Toys Drive. After collecting hundreds of donations, the toys were distributed to grateful hospitalized kids in the Dallas area, but that was only the beginning. For his current humanitarian outing, Jean has injected his "it's better to give than to receive" philosophy with some true everything's bigger in Texas attitude. So far, he's collected over 4,000 meal donations in the race to 1,000 meals. Jean has taken on the mantle of the role model with equal fervor. Turning on his 1,000-watt positive energy, he's putting out a call to welcome everyone who wants to become part of his personal crusade to spread compassion around the world, hoping they'll join him in his race to kindness.
To be in fifth grade again, what would I do? You know?
Yeah. What would I be doing in fifth grade? What? I don't know if I want to answer that question.
I definitely have no plans on answering that question right now.
I'd be chewing pencils. Like, let's just get real with ourselves.
Like, you're 13. It's 13 is fifth grade, right?
Oh, I'd be too dumb to be chewing pencils. Like, you know, like it is.
Fifth grade is 12. How old are you in fifth grade? 12, 13 years old?
So high school is like a ninth grade is freshman, and that's when you're like 14 or something. So like fifth grade is like low down. We're talking like
he's like 9.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Dude, this kid, he's an old head. Beyond his years, he's an old soul trapped in a young kid's body. I love this kid. He's absolutely amazing, you know? And,
it takes prize money. Some dude's like getting a line for a PlayStation 5. He's like, no, I'm going on the next venture. What are you talking about?
Yeah, think about it. Think about how many people are waiting in line right now for some Dave's hot chicken and fries on the corner over here for $12.99 for 45 minutes. For 45 minutes. You know what I mean? Shout out to Dave's. It's fantastic chicken. But I mean, seriously? You don't have anything better to do with your time in 45 minutes than wait for a chicken sandwich and fries? Meanwhile, this kid is spending his days, hours a day, making sure that people are able to get meals. And so, my goodness, for anybody who's seeing this podcast, I'm hoping, and I'm going to make a formal request that Stephen post the link to this kid so they can join his movement, because I think I am. You know, I got to at least donate some money to this kid. I got to do something. There's no way in the world I can spend an hour talking about him and not donate to his movement. So I am going to donate at least, say, $20 to $50. I'm going to make a $50 commitment to him. And that's my to-do action for next week is to have donated $50 to this kid.
All right. So I'm writing that down. I'm going to write that in the chat because I want us on the podcast while recording video. We're going to be doing, so Ron and Steven each give 50 to Orion for his Thanksgiving meals. Because the thing is this, he is also, going back to the tree analogy, he's but a sapling in his journey as a human being.
Right.
And that beginning, how we treat the young has a tremendous effect with how they act going forward.
Absolutely.
We reward good behavior, and we get more good behavior, or even greater, as we see from the decisions that he's made.
Absolutely. And I'm not. Well, I was going to make a commentary, an associative commentary, but this is positive identity, and I'm going to just change. I'm going to change what I was going to say.
Oh gosh! All right.
To this. That kid is about 9 years old, and across this country, from Maine to San Diego, from Alaska and Washington, all the way down to the Panhandle, from Appalachia to Texas and back, all across this great nation, there are children, whether brought here legally or not, that are not able to experience kindness, that are not able to experience love, that are not able to see the smile on their parents' face in the morning when they wake up, that are not able to see their parents, that are able to rejoice in the holidays and the friendships and the love that we all hope to have. And my God, they're children. And they're going to grow up. And for anybody out there who's ever been in recovery, they're going to grow up. And we hope that they become upstanding citizens. But for those of us who have to go through some form of recovery because of the abuses and social programming that we absorb as children, you know what? Kindness, love. Give that to people. Give it to somebody. You don't have to. Someone you don't know, right?
That's a big one. That's a big one. Someone you can't benefit from. Someone you can't benefit from.
Someone you can't benefit from. But regardless of your religious beliefs, if you believe in God, higher power, Cthulhu, it doesn't matter. My understanding is that most religions give and you shall receive. Give to someone that you don't know. You'll receive something. There'll be some benefit. Even if it's just that it puts a smile on your face for 30 seconds and then you go about your business. Reach outside of what you're doing and do something nice. Just saying.
What? And guess what? If you do that, we will put you on this podcast. It doesn't take much. Our expectations. We understand how the world can be. We understand.
Actually, if you were sitting in some of our production meetings and you heard Steven, okay, so there's a Marvel movie coming out called Black Widow. And in it, one of the villains his name is the Taskmaster.
Oh, and
the Taskmaster is able to mimic the fighting style of anything he sees, just as good as the person, if not better than the person who's doing it. And Steven is a podcast taskmaster. He screens our guests with the rigor of someone who has a podcast. And he's holding me to standards that I would not even hold myself. And that should say a lot, because I just found out about holding standards when I met him 3 weeks ago. So,
right, we found each other on the street. It's like, hey, you got a free 2 hours? Hey, I do. So to everybody out there, hold yourself to a higher standard, man. Come on. I love it, and I'll say this, like, that's why we're really I want to get very Christian for a second. There's two schools of thought There's Bible verses where it's like, let your light shine before others so that others may see your good deeds so that you'll be honored by your Father in heaven. So you want to show people, you want to show people the good. Conversely, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, that you're giving maybe in secret. So your Father who sees what is done in secret will himself reward you openly. And we're going to figure that out too, because the nature of giving is something where it's like, all right, we're going to do a news article on you and we're all going to pat you on the back for being such a great person. There's people who give who don't do it for the most honest reasons. That's also part of our journey as we figure out positive people of all different races. But
that's true.
We do good things. We have to tell people that there are good things that need to be done.
Right.
And so we're in exploring what it takes to create a multiracial society that can work together, free people who believe in a higher purpose on this world. We're going to be forced to ask some questions, Ron, that are above our pay grade, but we'll rise to that occasion to answer those questions. Yes?
We were talking earlier about the Asian astronaut.
Yeah, I don't think we'll have enough time for him. We'll probably get to him next week.
Pull it up. Let's
pull it up.
I'm going to do one of my special associations that you didn't see coming, because I didn't see it coming yet either.
All right. What's the association, Ron? Let's do this.
SpaceX astronaut Soichi Noguchi, and I probably butchered his name, Soichi Noguchi, makes history. How did he make history, Stephen?
If you watch news reports of the SpaceX launch Sunday night, you may have seen an Asian astronaut. He is Soichi Noguchi, who has made 2 previous space flights, including the STS-114 mission by the Space Shuttle Discovery in 2005. He's also flown the International Space Station in 2010 aboard the Soyuz TMA-17, according to Chron.com. With Sunday's launch, Noguchi becomes just the 3rd person to fly to space aboard 3 different types of spacecrafts. The other 2 are NASA astronauts Wally Schirra and John Young. So he is, I believe, the first, one of the first people, I think the only person to do this, and he's an Asian astronaut, to be in 3 different vehicles. So
that's amazing. And
they don't make these often. Space is kind of been neglected a bit. So
yeah, he's been around for a while. And to all my Asian brothers and sisters out there, that should put a smile on your face. I love seeing stuff like this, because for some reason in this country, we have a stereotype that the astronaut is not Asian. I don't know. You don't hear of this being highlighted a lot, and at least I haven't. And if there's more to that, then please chime in and prove me wrong. I want to be wrong, but I just love the fact that we have these Asian brothers and sisters that are working here and going to the moon and doing all these experiments to help advance humanity, our medical systems, our health, our medicines, all the things that astronauts do. And this guy, he's a player. He's the original. He's like one of the 3 original gangsters of being an astronaut.
He's got the whole arm fold thing. There's a bit of the sort of like, all right, I'm explaining something to you, but I'm kind of cool type thing going.
Yeah. Listen, he's pimping rides, man.
Yeah, the biggest ride of the planet.
Yeah. He's pimped out 3 different rides, this cat, man. And it's just fantastic. I'm a major fan of that. And we just wanted to go ahead and say congratulations to Soichi and to every Japanese American that is out here. For all my Korean American brothers and sisters and all my Chinese American brothers and sisters, I want y'all to smile and celebrate this Asian American brother and sister, this Asian American brother, as one of your own. I don't want to hear any lip from you. You're going to
hear some lip that'll be like, douche Japanese. That's our credit.
Oh, yeah.
All these Korean jokers. K-pop sucks. J-pop sorts that.
that's why I brought this up. Here comes the association that we're waiting.
All right.
This gentleman here, he has had to overcome all types of adversity to be able to do what he's been doing, and throughout his entire life, I guarantee you dollars to donuts, he has heard some of the most horrific racial stuff that you can imagine on and off of work, on and off the job, shall we say, and here he is still today. He's never given up. So we have young Orion, who is raising awareness and making meals and convincing his parents and family and community and people like myself and Steven to help him meet and help other people. And then you have this guy right here, Soichi, right? And throughout his entire life, he, I guarantee you, has had his own version of a discrimination waffled, forced upon him. And so you see the current, so we have the youth and our leaders, the elders, who, I would imagine Soichi is over 45, 50 years old, from the looks. And then these are people, regardless of the political climate, regardless of the racial climate, regardless of what's going on in social media, regardless of the hate speech, they stay focused on love, and they stay focused on achievement, and they stay focused on representing themselves, their race, and their country as they fight to excel. And that's the best I could do.
I think that's pretty great. I would say that I want to sort of spend a bit more time with them. We're going to spend some time next week, but obviously, it's kind of our shtick right now because we love talking about our first person so much, to give a quick sort of convo about the person we talk about for next week. So we'll talk about Mr. Noguchi pretty soon, but I would say I want to sort of wrap this up because you talked about the elders thing of what Soichi is, and I'm going to go back, and I will also tie this together and then sort of sign us off. You mentioned those parents, those adults are helping Orion,
right,
as he was doing his food drive.
Right.
There's no other way around. He's a minor, he's 9, adults are helping him out. There's this belief that, on the other end, we idolize the youth and we forget about the people who are before us, who have the power now to be that force for good.
Right.
Help, whether it's a young kid starting off or someone, sorry, Soichi, an older guy who wants to see the stars.
Yeah. That
every one of us, no matter your age, no matter your race, is in this. You're in this. You're in the game. As long as air is going through your lungs, you're in the game.
Right.
Whatever those scars are, you don't have to let them define you, because there's a lot of people that we just spoke about who weren't these people specifically. But they all have scars. Even kids have scars. Older people have scars.
Yeah.
But all these people.
We all do. We all do, right?
Right, we all do.
Mm-hmm.
Our subjects overcame their own scars. The people around them that helped them overcame their scars. And they reached the stars and they fed the hungry.
Right.
So, and they're people of all different identities.
That was very powerful. You should be like a speechwriter for a president or something like that.
I'll get Joe. I'm gonna be on the phone for Joe Biden, and be like, "All right, Joe, I can do this. I'll put some corn pop references in.
Woo!
I'll be like, come on, Jack, come on, man. I'll have a few of those in, and I'll be like 80% of the way there. And so, but
I absolutely love it.
Yeah, and so I'd say, Ron, I want us to finish this off with a thought or two.
Yeah.
Before we had our separate ways, and you and me are going to meet like Monday or Tuesday before Thanksgiving, and a big time for families to get together and get together and not get together because of COVID. Leave us with some thoughts about what happened today and thinking forward, and we'll go from there.
Today, some thoughts that happened for today. Today, to me, I'm going to say this. I'm going to change thoughts. And I hope I give you what you're looking for.
Okay.
Today for me was a day that a lot of things that I've been working on started to really mature. And it is a time where I am starting to unwind from the politics toxins that have been flowing through my veins, and being able to do this podcast and hear about Dion and Orion
and Soichi, right? Yeah,
Soichi. I'm not going to butcher your name, sir. It just lets me know that, you know what, listen, we're all on the right path. And it reminds me of, this cancel culture that's out there. You know what? There's always going to be someone to say or do something to hurt your feelings, that are mean-spirited, that's meant to tear you down, meant to beat you up, whatever the case may be. And just understand something. Whoever says or do that, inside their soul of souls, they hurt much more than you ever will for them to be trying to do that for you. And the most important thing to do is to tune it all out, spread love, spread kindness, spread hugs. You know?
Ron, what's the opposite of the word cancel? Green light?
Acceptance.
We're going to make it acceptance culture.
Acceptance culture. How about an acceptance culture? How about an acceptance that we're all imperfect and that no matter how bad we may fall down, that we always, always, always have the wherewithal and the ability and the fortitude to get back up. And sometimes, just like in the superhero movies, Loki and Thor, there's sometimes the person that has betrayed you the most, the person who's hurt you the most, is actually the one who loves you the most and is here to help you.
And on that note,
I'm wearing a David Bowie shirt today too.
He's got a David Bowie shirt today. There is no regrets.
Oh man,
Ron is already in the healing process.
Oh man, wait to end the podcast.
All right, it is a wonderful Tuesday.
This is a very serious podcast, by the way. I'm just struck with how serious we remained this entire time. Continue.
Yeah, I'm very curious. Once we get deep into it, 20 episodes in, where we become. And guess what, folks? Stick around and find out not just what we become, but what you become as well. Ron?
And some serious, amazing interviews pending too. Go ahead.
Sounds good. Talk soon, folks. Bye.
Guys, have a great day.